David Super, professor of law and economics, Georgetown University.
Thank you for having me.
President Trump has pushed for faster interest rate cuts to support jobs and businesses. How justified is this approach in protecting the interests of everyday Americans and small businesses?
Well, ordinary Americans have been very strongly opposed to inflation, and the Federal Reserve is seeing signs of inflation probably picking up because of the president's tariffs. So I think they feel that the modest rate cut that they did is a middle ground to guard against both a weakening job market and growing inflation.
Some have criticized Trump's attempts to remove Lisa Cook and pressure Powell. Can these actions be seen as a legitimate effort to safeguard the economy during a slowdown in the labor market?
I don't think so. The evidence is overwhelming that independent central banks provide much better economic conditions for the people in their country than central banks that are under the control of the executive. Lots of research about that. So ordinary people need an independent Federal Reserve, even if you might slightly disagree with this decision or that it might make. The president just pushed through very expansionary fiscal legislation over the summer, dramatically increasing the national debt and the ongoing deficit. The Federal Reserve traditionally has tried to balance excesses in fiscal policy with monetary policy. I think the administration here is hoping to avoid a recession that could affect it in the midterm elections next year, rather than looking at the long term. The Fed's job is to look at the long term.
The Fed lowered rates for the first time since December. How much might presidential pressure have influenced this decision to help Americans with mortgages, loans, and job creation?
Well, the tariffs are already putting a major drag on the U.S. economy. They're also, I think, persuading other countries to negotiate acquisitions outside of the U.S., to cut the U.S. outside of their supply chains, because we've started to look like an unreliable trading partner. So I hope we get some clarity, either from the Supreme Court or from Congress, that brings down the tariffs and reduces the volatility.
Can presidential involvement in Fed policy be seen as a tool to serve the public, especially when the central bank hesitates to take action to support the economy?
If they would do that, it would only be if they were very stable and very established, and we've got tariffs going up and down, announcements, special breaks. So no business can plan around that. Any repatriation of manufacturing, I think, is likely to be fairly small, but not to happen at all as long as the administration's policies keep changing.